a lot of fun. Got to play 5 games. Get to do it again this week. Started off against Jackson State. And they played us tough. They pitched us real well. But our pitching kept us in it. Cooper Rawls played a huge role last week in a couple of games, and we were able to get that first one, and then played over in Biloxi against Mississippi State and kind of self-inflicted on ourselves a little bit. And it was a tight game that probably we were right there to win. Just didn't put ourselves in a great position. Got a really good start out of Sam Hill. And there was a lot of things to like. We kind of just turned the page right after the game in the dugout and got ready for Arkansas State to open conference, and got a magnificent outing out of Jake Hammond on Friday night. 10 strikeouts, I believe. I think we shut him out, correct? Is that right? No? What was the score there? 15-4. Felt like it. And then Moods came out. He looked great in warm-ups. Obviously, there was a tip or a tell there, and they took advantage of it. But once again, able to go to Coop, kind of settle things down for us and give the hitters a chance to get going, and they responded in a huge way in the 3rd inning, and were able to kind of create some distance and walk away with that one. Then yesterday, it just goes to show you how humbling a game baseball is. You think you're going to score a lot of runs, and the 10-run rule's in effect and all of that, and just you're not going to find better conditions to hit in our ballpark. The cool weather is not great for baseball, but it is for here at the Teague because of the north wind. And so, but we just never were able to take advantage of it. Their guy pitched us tough. Tried to throw a knockout punch in the first with the short game and a double squeeze, and we just failed to execute it, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. We had to grind our way through that one, and but got one of the better pitch games you'll ever see here out of Jackson Nezu, who's gotten better and better and better as we go. And so that was great to get a sweep to start. It's 100% better than we started last year, which was getting swept on the road at Troy, which was a big hill to climb to make that up. We ultimately did and put ourselves in a position, just couldn't get it done at Texas State a year ago. So definitely like starting with 3-0, better than 0-3, and 5-game week this week with Grambling coming in, and then Sela follows those guys on Wednesday, and then get on the road on Thursday and go to South Al, which is always a tough rival, and those have been some great games throughout the years, and look forward to the week, honestly.
Can you talk about the steady progression that Jackson has had over the past 3 starts?
It's been like climbing a flight of stairs, right? So he goes one step, and it was okay, barely got up it, and then got up the next one pretty good. Wasn't able to reach the next one, but the next week he was, and the next week, and then you get into this 6th week and or 5th week, and you see the development of somebody that has a lot of talent and potential, and that works hard, and it's fun to watch confidence grow in kids. Confidence is the great elixir. If you could bottle that, you'd be the richest guy on earth for anybody. This is a very confidence-driven game. No matter if you're coaching, playing, cheering. Even if you're cheering, you've been in your house cheering for somebody, and I promise you went and sat in the same seat when you scored, and then if you didn't score, you felt like it's your fault. It's all confidence-driven, and so to get that type of start out of him and see him get that deep, that's going to go a long way in his future success.
You mentioned how, there's some injuries that are changing some things. Like, how is there any concern that any of them are long term, or is it just a matter of getting through this little right?
I don't know, Kev. I don't know. That's honestly, I don't. Day to day, meaning, with a couple of the injuries. Look, Toit's out for a couple, 2 or 3 more weeks, and I don't know. McGeehee's seeing the doctor today. We'll see. That's listed as day to day. Zambo is it just depends on how that hand's feeling, and obviously CJ tweaked his back. And when you start dealing with wrists and backs and swinging a bat, you just don't know. And it's one of those deals where it could be a long time or you could wake up feeling great. That's the best way I can answer that. And I'm not trying to hide anything. It's just those injuries are very delicate, very delicate. It's not like we're dealing with, he broke his finger or something like that. It's just in that spot, those spots that are just tough.
First time I spoke to you back in early January, you said that Fluno has some Bo bonds in them, and we're starting to see that.
Big time. And I like that Friday night. Bo kind of mastered that coming off a tally and just staying out there. And Fluno has that to him. He just doesn't have the experience that Bo has. Growing up geographically where the two grew up, Wisconsin, middle of Florida, who has more innings and who's pitched in bigger ball games. Bo came out of a top flight junior college that could beat a lot of D1 teams. And so there's just a gap in experience, but stuff, it's very, very similar. And, Bo developed a power fastball and a good, hard, true curveball. And the difference there being it's both kind of relative deliveries, release point, all of it, size. I think Fluno's breaking ball is a little sharper at the plate sometimes, maybe even a little easier to control, which is a credit to Bo that he was able to control that big curveball as well as he did. But Fluno has a lot to work with, a lot.
From a confidence standpoint, what did that sweep over the weekend do for the team?
It was good to get another one, Jamarcus. It was, what's it been, BYU? It's been a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, and we've put ourselves in positions a few times. And so it doesn't matter the opponent. It really doesn't. You can get God if you make them good by giving them stuff, that'll happen. But I feel like our pitching led the way. Very, very few freebies. In fact, yesterday, what was it, the 7th? And that was, I haven't seen the pitch, but that was questionable. We give up a couple of walks. But, yeah, it's good to get that sweep and have the pitchers develop the way they have and kind of lead the way on that deal was very exciting.
Coach, over the last month, ever since the end of that BYU series, anytime your team gets knocked down, you get back up even better. Talk about your team's ability to be resilient like that throughout the stretch so far.
Yeah, that's a good point. That takes great leadership, Matt. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about within the walls of your clubhouse. These guys don't get down, they get mad. And that's when you can surround yourself with bad losers, that's a good combination of good players that are bad losers. They want to get that taste out of their mouth quick, and they sometimes have the ability to just will it to happen. It's not pretty all the time, but they'll figure out a way to outlast you. And felt like we did that yesterday a little bit. That's a great quality to have. The 14 team never lost back-to-back games until the last one. And that's always the barometer is, that's what great teams do. They're going to lose. It's baseball, right? Even the Astros probably lost 5 games in a row at some point last year. If we go back and look, I'd be shocked if they didn't. But the good ones, man, they don't stay down long. The same holds true with hitters. They just find a way. Find an excuse to win, and that's what these guys do.
With the midweek game against Grambling coming up, just what do you hope to work on? What do you hope to better for the team as you continue on in conference play? Yeah,
that's kind of where my mindset's at. Is let's continue to get better this week, and we need to see a good start out of Sam Hill tomorrow night, and. You can't take anything for granted with who you're playing because baseball's a funny game. And if you give people stuff, if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and you're going to put your back against the wall. And that's tough at our ballpark sometimes because the wind will turn back around. It's going to come out of the south, and now all of a sudden you're not getting rewarded with opposite field home runs. They're long fly balls. And so we need to do a great job of playing to the conditions. and that's a huge teach is hitting to the conditions and playing to the conditions. Felt like we held an edge this weekend because of the weather, just because that's the way we're trained. Is we do a lot of uncomfortable stuff, and our guys thrive in that type stuff. But it's going to be a test tomorrow night because it's a busy week, and I don't want to take anybody lightly, and we definitely shouldn't. And so all of our focus is on Grambling, and then we'll worry about the next 4 games after that. But I would like us to be able to sustain some momentum offensively. We have got to get better at cashing in and alpha ABs, runner at third, lesson 2. Have to. We're getting out hit in that spot right now, which can't happen. I want to see us continue to use our legs to create and not wait to get hits. We need to start small in order to finish big. That's always been our formula. We're on a stolen base pace right now to do some really good things stolen base-wise. I want us to continue to stay aggressive, play the game with intensity, and just go out and play fast, hard, and loose, no matter who we're playing.
If McGehee gets the okay, will you try to slot him in some midweek or?
Not this week. Not this week. Maybe next week.
Talk about, Coach, you have a few guys who you kind of waiting to get hot, and they play and then they don't play. And how tough is that for you and for them? Because until they get hot, it's kind of a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, it is until you go take it. And that's what Ben Robichaux did. And if you look at the 2 leadoff guys, right, I say 2 leadoff guys, let's just call Roby and Debo table setters. I mean, what'd they do all weekend? It was either a walk or a hit. They're creating chaos with their legs. And so that was great to see. I was telling you, I believe the other day, I'd like to get to 7 guys that I believe me and you were having that conversation, that don't need to look at the lineup. Will, and y'all may believe me or not, Will made a serious adjustment in BP yesterday. So I was itching to get him in the game, but just not ready to just wasn't quite there, just coming off the baseball a little bit. But when he starts driving the ball really, really hard and out of the ballpark in BP, then I know he's going to get close. Higgs plays extremely well off the bench, and I like some matchups for him. Some of those guys got in this weekend, and hats off to them because of the Zambo CJ situation. And thank God that we brought Wilkie back over into the hitting side of things because he was just down there pitching. So I thought he played well. So we added a little bit depth there. We still have Stelly on the bench. We've got Uhas over there, Lee Amity, and the list goes on. And I think that's good. And they all embrace their role. They don't want to sit there, but I promise you, they're great teammates on the bench. But yeah, it's sometimes necessity is the mother of all invention, and that's kind of where we were this weekend. That's why Higgs got some of those opportunities, and they capitalized on them. John Taylor, same thing. If CJ's healthy, where is CJ this weekend? And that's a question I've been asking myself. Is he at second base? Did we not even see John? Because I'll ride Max. He's too good of a talent, and he's an elite defender on the infield.
What is it that makes Steve Hood so effective for you?
But he has a tremendous package, Dan, of speed and strength. He's exactly what I look for. Football player that has a ton of toughness. And oddly enough, he was just not aggressive. And you see some football guys like that are straight football guys that get into baseball, and you think the aggression would translate, but sometimes they don't want to make a mistake. And it took the better part of a year to get Hoodie to be unafraid to crash and burn and make mistakes. And now he's to that point. He's got 13 stolen bases. He's on pace to still 40-something bags if he can keep reaching base. But he's a talent that can play this game for a long time, way past here. How about his defense in the outfield? I mean, how many runs has he saved this year? A ton. He's quiet, he's unassuming, and it's easy to look at other guys and then you go, oh, yeah, they got Hoodie.
Could LaFleur pitch in his next 2 days?
Possibly. He's exciting on the mound. I don't know if you guys recall, we used him one time last year, and it was 90 every pitch, and it's a high angle. Lefties that get this high angle and it's heading back to their glove side, they're hard to find. Our headers don't hit him.